I promise you at some point in this relationship, something's going to go wrong. Mm-hmm. Don't judge me or my staff or the business on that. How do we deal with it?
Yeah.
You know, one of the key things that I remind all my employees is that, look, we need to listen to people, we need to take care of people, and the business will take care of itself. You can't leave like this. Like, this is a problem. And she's like, no, I'm taking this bike. Like, I paid for it. I said, no, I'm sorry, you're not taking anything.
Is a very valuable skill. You have one mouth and two ears, right? And I always tell everyone that works on the team, like, listen. Oftentimes the answers are right there.
Sometimes I even ask like clients when they're saying what could I do? Because sometimes, like you said, we don't always have the answer. So I ask them like, what do you need from me here?
I think the most important thing as a business owner, as a salesperson, because we're all salespeople at the end of the day, right? I mean,
yep.
is to constantly evolve with what you're doing, because it's changing. It's never, and it's changing faster than it's ever changed.
For the independent motorist uptick in New York City, is this?
It's all me.
It's all you?
That's not.
All right, that's what I was looking. I was like really looking for you to take that.
No. If you treat people the right way, if you give people the right information,
right,
it works out in the end.
Okay, welcome everybody. We are back to the Broker That Never Sleeps podcast. I am here with Samantha Germano, as always, and Andrew Hadjiminas. Is that how you say it?
Hadjiminas.
Hadjiminas. I did the best I could. This is our guest today, and we are super, super excited to share some of his thoughts and wisdom. He's the president and CEO of Vespa, Brooklyn and Manhattan, and we're going to get into his story in just a little bit. Samantha?
But before we do, we have to talk about some recent real estate news in the U.S. And I want to kick it off by saying, obviously, you know, we've seen major headlines. A lot of eyes have been on the Florida real estate market lately. We've had major purchases from A-list celebrities like Gisele Bundchen, Lionel Messi, Kenneth Griffin, and several others. And then obviously we've had Jeff Bezos, who recently announced he would be leaving his longtime home in Seattle for Miami.
Rainy days for sunny days. I'm a big advocate of that. Jeff, well done. You should call me next time.
Yeah, it's okay. He made the mistake once. Next time.
He'll learn his lesson.
Yeah. Obviously, in June, he paid $68 million for a waterfront home in Indian Creek. And then in October last month, he reportedly snapped up the property next door for $79 million.
So that's real life monopoly, ladies and gentlemen. If you could take waterfront frontage down in Miami and then put it next to waterfront frontage and get double lot scenario, that's how you really add value.
Yes.
Good job, Jeff.
Good job, Jeff. Gold star for Jeff. Okay. But what I think is the most interesting is that even with people like Jeff Bezos and Kenneth Griffin, who have spent each north of $100 million, they're not even the buyer of the most expensive home ever sold in Florida. Do you know who is?
Well, that's the one. Isn't that the one? No, that was the second one that Ryan sold for $144 million.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's not Ken? No? I don't know. Shoot.
Andrew?
It's not Messi, is it? No, he's in the Porsche Tower. He's in the Porsche Tower. No.
Okay. Mansion Global recently revealed it is the co-founder of Oracle and the third richest person in the U.S., Larry Ellison.
Smart.
Okay.
The 79-year-old billionaire purchased a 62,200 square foot mega mansion set on 16 acres on a barrier island in Manalapan, which is just south of Palm Beach, for $173 million. In June of 2022.
Wow. 60, what was it, 63?
That's impressive.
62,000
square feet. I mean, I wonder what the cooling cost of that.
That's a lot of square feet.
I'd like to see his electric bill.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's a lot. 62,000. Yeah. I mean, remember Armonk? That was 13,000 square feet.
And we were like, whoa.
Way too much.
It's always interesting for New Yorkers because we're so used to
well, everything is so small.
Yeah. So when we hear 62,000, we're like, oh my God.
That's massive. It's massive. But generally it is massive. It's kind of like industrial scale.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Good job, Larry.
And he also bought it from fellow tech titan Jim Clark. Too. So
good.
From one tech titan to another.
Wow.
But let me tell you a little bit about the home because it's insane.
Okay, want to hear more.
I shouldn't even say home. It's an estate.
Yeah, that's not a home at that point.
Yeah.
The estate has 1,200 feet of ocean frontage, around 1,300 feet on the intracoastal waterway, spanning the width of the barrier island on which it's located. In addition to the 62,000 square foot main residence, which has coral stone facade, a 7-bedroom guest house, 2 cottages on the beach, and a manager's house that are connected via a series of underground tunnels.
Wow.
There's also a dock, a sports complex, a pool, and a 3-hole golf course.
That's it?
That's it.
I mean, the golf course is a nice touch.
Yeah, it is.
I like playing, it's like a little putt-putt, a little chip, par 3.
You think we'll get invited by Larry to play
Larry,
golf?
like this is the formal invitation that we're making for ourselves. So we'll see you soon.
I mean, and obviously we're not surprised that there's a series of underground tunnels because I think for that caliber of a state, you need them.
I wonder what that does to like the insurance for flooding. Like, do those tunnels get flooded? I wonder how that works out from an engineering standpoint. It's just
Yeah, I can't imagine that being
it's
safe.
like an island. Okay, we're on a tiny island right up, and then let's build tunnels. I mean, yeah. Hurricanes.
It's like superhero territory right there.
It for sure is. Well, I guess when you're Larry Ellison, you are partially a superhero.
This is true.
Look, I love talking South Florida, but I also love talking New York City and some transportation because we have Andrew in the house with us right now. And, as we move back up to staying on the East Coast, right, Miami, all the way back up to New York, we have Andrew, and we just want to, get to know you a little bit. Thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Thank
you for having me.
And being with us today. And we just want to talk just a little bit about you. Maybe we can get your, little origin story, like where you came from, how you got here. Like, oh my God, supercars, riding Vespas, like all these great things, like just a brief summary for everyone so they can get to know you a little bit, and then we'll dig in from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the president and CEO of Vespa Brooklyn and Vespa Manhattan. I guess my story started when I was born. So
let's take it back.
I've always been into cars. I've always been into motorcycles. I've always, my dad races cars. I race cars. So everything always revolved around machines and things with wheels. But like everyone else, I went to school. I graduated Baruch. I went to business school. I worked on Wall Street and technology for a bit. And then in 2005, I opened a company called Sports and Classics of New York. And that was essentially high-end storage and concierge of exotic cars. And we would basically babysit people's cars that weren't used very often. So we had a warehouse full of Ferraris, Porsches, Lamborghinis, Bentleys, all sorts of fun things. And part of our job was to store them, maintain them, and start them and use them so people, when they wanted to use them, could use them, and they were always ready.
Right.
So needless to say, I got to drive a lot of fun cars before I was 20.
I was going to say,
or something.
Was part of that job like test driving or taking each car out for like its
let's
daily,
see how fast the
daily walk?
Bugatti goes today. Oh, no, let's take the Aston Martin out.
Fortunately, yes. There were some people that didn't drive their cars often at all, and they would ask, well, hey, can you put 50 miles a month on my car for me? I was man, this is a tough job, worst job ever.
Right.
So I would do that. I had people that would, I had one client with an Aston Martin, and he called me and he said to me, hey, I'm flying into Logan on whatever day it was. He said, hey, do you think the Aston could be in the parking garage there for me? I was like, yeah, I guess. And so he arranged a flight from me from Boston to New York. So I got up in the morning, I drove the Aston Martin to Boston, got stuck in Boston traffic because I'd never been there before, found the garage, found the airport, left the car, jumped on a flight, came home, and I was like, this was all done by like noon. Jeez. And I was like, this is cool. And like my friends were like, hey, how was work today? I was,
whoa,
it was different.
Not too shabby.
It was different.
Wow, I think that's super interesting. So did you get like a bug for like travel or speed or adrenaline? Like what?
All of it.
Yeah.
I love traveling. I love going fast. But I also love business. I love the building of a business, the inner workings of a business. So the opportunity in 2008 came up to work with Vespa, and they were looking for representation in Brooklyn. And it was right around, we had an economic downfall in 2008. So the exotic car market was changing a lot. And you start thinking about, okay, well, gas prices are north of $5 a gallon now. Mm-hmm. What are people going to be doing? Like, how do we, supercars and exotic cars aren't sustainable forever.
Right.
So we pivoted to Vespa. And Vespa's history is a vehicle for the masses. Mm. So, we pivoted that. We changed our business model around. And in 2008, we started the Vespa dealership we went from 4 wheels to 2.
That's Four awesome. Wheels to 2. I like that. Yeah. And so you worked with Ryan, right? Ryan Serhan?
I did. Ryan had a Vespa. I remember we painted it. I remember he came and he was like, I want to do this color. And we're like, okay, cool, purple. And it came out really good.
Yeah, it did.
I wish we had better pictures of it because it was I guess 2009 or 10, and I
Right.
think I took the picture on my BlackBerry. And
Right, right.
It's not a great
BlackBerry.
picture. Like it's
Right.
the grainy,
Right,
but it was a
right.
cool bike. It was a cool bike.
Wow.
That is really cool.
Like, just in terms of cool bikes, just quickly, like, what's your favorite bike you've ever done?
The purple bike is cool. We did we do a lot of celebrity bikes. So we did bikes for DiCaprio. We did bikes for Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso. He's
Nice.
a customer of ours.
Yeah,
Ed
yeah.
Norton's a customer of ours. So it's always fun working with those guys because they're all super passionate riders.
Right.
And it's never about like, oh my God, there's a celebrity in the house. Like they're all cool people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
right.
it's all fun conversation. We make a point of like, we're not doing photos in the shop, and
Yeah,
and
it's
I don't want
better
them
that
like
way.
we're not doing it that way. Like
Yeah.
just have a normal experience.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's fun. We recently did a bike for the St. Regis Hotel, and it's white and gold and red, and they're going to use it next summer to. The guys that saber the champagne bottles
Yeah,
at parties.
yeah.
So they're going to have a guy with a shaver on a Vespa in Montauk or in the Hamptons somewhere, going around from party to party, like popping champagne. So look out for that next summer.
Sounds, yeah, all right.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes peeled.
Yeah,
Keep an eye out
if you see a
there.
guy on a Vespa with a sword,
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
like,
We
Andrew.
did that.
Yeah, yeah. All right. That's pretty funny.
we've done a lot of fun projects. It's a fun business.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to get into is talking about the building blocks and just secrets of customer service, because obviously, even though you were in the automobile, would you say, industry? Yeah. The foundation of customer service really is consistent throughout our industry and yours and others too. So you cater to a lot of different individuals, clients. What would you say are, is your approach and is Vespa's approach to customer service? And then maybe we'll get into like your key, like your 5 go-to, secrets of customer service.
Okay, yeah, of course. I mean, I think that the important thing to remember all the time is that, business will happen, right? So like we all sell things. We buy, we sell, we buy, we sell. Like that's just numbers. It's just going to happen. But I think without the people that we deal with, this is not possible, right? So one of the key things that I remind all my employees is that look, we need to listen to people. We need to take care of people, and the business will take care of itself. We deal with a lot of different people, and that's one of the fun parts of our job is that Vespas are for everybody. So we have 20-year-old college students, we have 30-year-old professionals, we have 50-year-old doctors. So we find ourselves in a position that it's we don't have to treat any of them differently. If you treat people the right way, if you give people the right information,
Right.
It works out in the end. I think, and it's also we also have to educate our customers, right? Because, I think people have this mentality of, well, we can never make mistakes. And if you make a mistake, you're going to get branded on the internet as a bad business, whatever. I'm like, nobody's perfect. Like you're going to make a mistake. How did it deal with it though? Right? Like, and I tell my customers all the time, like, look, we're not perfect. I promise you at some point in this relationship, something's going to go wrong. You're going to get the wrong information. Something's going to break, whatever the case is. Don't judge me or my staff or the business on that. How do we deal with it?
Yeah.
And always tell us. Because if something goes wrong and then your first inclination is, I'm going on Yelp. I'm going on Google reviews.
Right. That's a
Well,
little.
you didn't give anyone a chance to fix the
That's
problem.
a little reactive.
Right.
Right. I said, just make us your first call.
Mm.
Make me your first call. You all know that I'm always here on site. You've got my email. You've got my phone number. Call me.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that'll happen? I'm not going to bite your head off. Tell me what happened. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I think a nice thing that you're reminding us and whoever's listening is that there is a human aspect to customer service. It doesn't have to be like a transactional or like you never meet the person behind the product or the service. Like you are available to remediate things or to make things better, and to make sure that they're only having a positive experience with the brand. In your journey of building Vespa in New York and Manhattan and Brooklyn, has there ever been a situation, I feel like we're in an interview, like what has like been the best customer service story that you have found where something went wrong and you were really proud of yourself or the team for making it better?
Okay. So in our first year, 2008, it was like, it might have been like our 5th bike we sold or 6th bike, something really right at the beginning.
Okay.
And this young girl came in and she was like, I want a Vespa. Oh, fantastic. That's what we do here. Like, this is my new business and I'm all excited.
Tremendous.
And she's like, I want this green one. And she puts her credit card down and she pays for it in full. I'm like, this is fantastic. All right, let's go. So we go through the process. We get her insurance and we do the paperwork and we set up a date for her to pick up the Vespa. And she got on the Vespa and she was going to kill herself. Like, legit, like, the first bus she saw, she was going to hit head on. Like, this was not going to be a good situation.
Wow.
And I said, whoa, stop. I said, you can't leave like this. Like, this is a problem. And she's like, no, I'm taking this bike. Like, I paid for it. I said, no, I'm sorry. You're not taking anything.
Here's your money back.
No, well, no. We didn't do that either. This is the part where we solved the problem, right? So I said, I said, well, we're not doing this. Like, you're not leaving with this bike. I said, business is business and a profit's a profit, but I'm not going to sleep tonight with this on my shoulder.
Right,
so it's just not happening. So she said, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, we're going to take this bike back inside. We're going to put it in storage. We're not going to charge you for the storage. I said, and you're going to go learn how to ride a motorcycle or a scooter. So I gave her the phone and she was like, okay, all right, fine. I said, there's just no way this is happening. So she went to the school that I recommended and the guy from the school calls me and he says to me, you've got to be out of your mind. I said, why? What happened? She goes, she's never ridden a bicycle. I said, oh, geez, this is not going to work out. So he sent her somewhere else. She learned how to ride a bike, right? She then went to his school.
She graduated.
Yeah. She learned how to ride a scooter. She showed up. And then at this point, it's like 7 months later. I forgot about her.
Yeah.
Business is taking off and we're selling hundreds of bikes. And it's just, I forgot. And she showed up one day and she walks into the showroom. And she's like, bam, with a motorcycle license.
Wow.
She's like, I'm back. First I was like, wait, who are you? So she came back and she says to me, I did it. I'm picking up my bike today. I said, okay. And she picked up her bike. And for the next 5 years, I would just see her zooming around Brooklyn, bat out of hell, just awesome. And she since has taken her Vespa. She moved to Korea. And she lives in Korea now with her Vespa. But this is the first really situation we had a big problem. We had to solve it. And, that was where you had to draw the line, right? Like, business is business. But we're also human, and I can't put you in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Right.
I think for the equivalent for us in real estate, we would never just put a buyer in a home where you really didn't feel like it was a good investment, or you saw a ton of red flags in the apartment, but obviously we would stop the transaction because we would come in and be like, hey, this isn't the right purchase for you.
Yeah. And, sometimes putting them on hold is the right thing. I love that idea. Like, we're going to put it in storage. Yeah. We're going to figure out how to do it.
And I've done that a lot, in the last 15 years.
I think it's a good practice. Me personally, I actually got into a scooter accident. I got on one of those Revel scooters, but I just did the app quickly and then got on and rode it. And I didn't realize it was the first time I rode a motor scooter, and I didn't realize the front or back brake.
It's opposite of a bicycle.
Right.
Yeah.
So I hit it and I went over. And
Did you go over the handlebars?
Yeah. I kind of screwed myself up pretty bad from that. So I wish I had someone to tell me, hey, understand what you're doing before you just start going really fast in the streets.
So we do an orientation with everybody.
Oh, okay.
You've bought the bike, we're doing an orientation and we're making sure you can ride the bike before you leave.
Yeah.
Good.
It's just not happening. There's just too much at risk.
Yeah, there's a lot of liability that
just,
comes with that.
Yeah. And the other good part about the story that you just told is that taking care of your customers is not only good for you, but it's also good for referral business too.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
sure did she recommend anyone to you?
I'm sure she did.
Okay.
I'm sure she did. I find that with referral business, no one ever tells you where they came from.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, who sent you here? Oh, I don't remember source.
Friend of a friend of a friend.
Tell me.
Yeah,
I need to know. I need to know what works.
Right.
But I'm very sure she did.
Yeah. Are there any other secrets or just approaches that you take or you train your staff or your company when handling customer service, when handling difficult clients? Because I think, like I said, in any business, we're always going to have the clients who are challenging or, in particular. So what is your approach to that?
I think the biggest approach, and this also goes for myself because I needed to learn this as well year after year, is don't get combative. Because it's very easy when someone comes at you, either in an email or in person, and says, hey, this other thing, and your first inclination as a human is well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And learn to just sort of scale it back and just say, hey, okay, just listen. Just let them get it out.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that's bothering them, whether it's hey, I wanted a discount, or hey, I didn't like the way this happened, just let them get it out. Because if you keep stopping them from getting out their feelings, they're just going to get angrier.
Right.
Let them get it out. Because by the time they're done ranting, they've calmed down a lot. And then process what they told you, and make the solution. And if you don't have the solution, feel like, you know what, I understand you're angry, and I understand that this didn't work out the way you expected. Let me figure out how to fix it. I don't have the answer right now. And it's okay to say you don't have the answer.
Yeah. Two things coming off of what you just said. Number one, I completely agree. I think it's a lesson that I've definitely learned this past year the most is always be on your client's side. Even if you're not agreeing with them, or you think that they're not handling it correctly, hear them out, let them get it out, and either find a solution or just I think sometimes it's important for people to know that they have someone in their corner.
Yes.
Whether the person in the corner agrees with them or not, I think it's reassuring for them. And then the second thing that you said is just listening. I don't think that we do enough of it. And it's an integral part of customer retention and then customer referrals and growth from there. We sometimes, I think, approach conversations like you're saying, knowing what we're going to say after the person stops talking, and that immediately shuts down the conversation.
Yeah, there's no active listening in that. And if you really want to understand how to best serve your clients, like you said, be quiet, let them get it out, but actually listen. Active listening is very much a part of the process. Like what I like to do is listen and then kind of like repeat back what they're saying. So what I hear you saying is, and then I kind of repeat it back just to see if they like agree with that. So I know that I'm on the same wavelength in terms of what they're saying.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Of
and
course.
I think, something like that is a very valuable skill. You have one mouth and two ears. Right. And I always tell everyone that works on the team, like, listen, oftentimes the answers are right there.
It's 100% true.
Right. You don't have to really go that far.
Yeah, it's 100% true. I mean, they'll tell you everything they need because they know what they need, that they're coming in with a need.
Right.
Just listen to them.
Sometimes I even ask like clients when they're saying what could I do? Because sometimes, like you said, we don't always have the answer. So I ask them what do you need from me here? And normally they'll tell you, and like you said, there's a solution to be made. Yeah. I've even seen sometimes Nile in conversations, like the person will be talking and he'll be like.
I do that as like a mental cue, like because I like to keep talking, so I go like this actively to remind myself.
To remind yourself.
Like, don't. So if I know I ask a question, I go like this, and I like to everybody like to pause. I know it looks a little funny right now, but I do that because it gives me that mental pause where I'm like, shut up, Nile. Let them talk. Shut up.
Yeah, because we're wired to just
exactly.
I know.
That's a good point. So with regards to, like customer service, and I heard you say something earlier that I thought was really cool, which was, when you deal with, celebrities, right? Like we deal with people's houses, people's homes, people's apartments. We deal with super famous people where like I'm walking around with someone on the street and they're getting mobbed, right? We also deal with, people who are not getting mobbed, right? So like everywhere kind of in between. But we do have, a generic approach, but then we also kind of cater to different levels. One thing that I thought that was really unique about what you said is like, we don't like to take photos, right? And, for me, that's something that I actually really believe, and it really caught my ear because when you're with those types of people, especially in our business, and you're intimately in their space or their home, I don't feel like it's very appropriate to take photos in those moments. In fact, I have a rule not to take photos because it allows for a deeper level of trust when you give people the comfort of that they have they're owning their privacy, right? And so when you're dealing with, high level people, I know it's certainly not easy for like, especially like the people in the shop or like like, oh my God, but like, how do you manage that? Because it seems like you have a really, really good way of doing it. And I just like to know a little bit deeper, because a little bit about what we do is when we're at that level, we have to adjust a little bit, but not too much where you're like, putting them on a pedestal, but you're also like, giving the high level of service, et cetera. So I just want to hear
that. To be honest, it's for me, it's just, I explain to the staff and say, look, we have XYZ person coming in today, right? Please just respect them and treat them like anyone else, because they deserve the same customer service, but they also deserve some level of privacy and some level of I remember we had one celebrity come in and they sent someone in to scope the place first because we knew they were coming, And then they sent people in, and they were like, okay, we need to like scour the block for paparazzi and all those other things. And this was my first experience. I said, wow, this is like, okay, we got to be cool. Like, let's not. And then I told everyone from that point forward, like, look, we're not going to do the selfies. We're not going to ask for pictures. We're not going to ask for autographs. Like, this isn't the place for it. And that's just the rule. We're not doing it. And it's gotten now to the point where these people will come in, and it's just regular conversation. You know, we talk about each other's kids, and we talk about summer vacation, and we talk about just normal things. Right. And I think that, you know, when you get to that level, like, you want to be able to go places and just have a normal interaction. Right. Because 99% of your life is not normal at this point. Not normal. You know, I mean, it's just, you're on display.
Right. That's a really good way of putting it. You're on display.
Right.
Yeah. So walking on the street, it can sometimes be problematic, or walking into a shop to buy, you know, something could be problematic. So, you know, just to see even the safeguards that some of them have, just to even walk in, and for you to recognize that, and then say as like a business decision, because, you know, there are other businesses that's their philosophy. Oh my God, somebody came in, like, you know, Joe's Pizza. Right, you go to Joe's Pizza. How many photos do you have of all the celebrities on the wall? Like, that's their style. Right, and that caters to, like, it's kind of like a mass. You know, you're pumping pizzas out.
We
right?
don't.
Right, versus this, which is like certainly more discreet, but it also gives people like a really positive feeling knowing that they can go and then also come back and then also refer their friends, because, you know, that's kind of like an understated luxury at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's gotten to the point now where, I mean, with a lot of these people, I'm on a personal text basis on a friendly level.
Yeah.
And it's important because, I mean, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, hey, let me exploit your fame for my business.
Right.
So we do something with all of our clients where every single person that buys a Vespa, we take a picture of them in their Vespa and we put it on Instagram and on Facebook and everywhere else. And the idea behind that is to showcase our customers. It doesn't conform to just one type of person. Right. It's
diversity.
It's very diverse. It's that's the word I'm looking for. Sorry.
I was also, even as you were saying, like, I think of the word like approachable too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you look at our Instagram and you look at all of the clients that we have, they are from all walks of life. And we do that on purpose because someone is going to see that photo and say, hey, we're that couple, or he's about my height, or she's about my height. I think I can do this, and it gives you motivation. Whereas when you look at stock photos of things, like, well, I'm not that model. So, but to go back with celebrities, we don't take photos for them. When they buy bikes, it's just they're the one group of clients we don't, so we continue just not to exploit. But we exploit everybody else, though.
Yeah, and
all
the
of the
best
normal
way.
people we exploit.
Not exploiting, you're promoting.
No, we're definitely promoting them.
But it's really interesting to see just the difference from a business perspective, because that's the way that I personally do my business. You know, a lot of the deal. It's funny because when you work in real estate, you know, social media is such a big thing. Everybody likes to promote everything. Oftentimes, you know, if somebody does a deal with somebody for the first time, like, that's their main Instagram thing, is like, oh my God, I know this person and I did it. You know, me personally, I always take the opposite approach, even if, like, the person's not necessarily following me or whatever. I just feel that if you do it over and over again, then your clients don't really see that there's privacy with you. So I keep it very discreet, like it's almost mysterious. And people are like, wait, you closed that big deal? Who's the buyer? I'm like, signed an NDA, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, like I don't even like.
You know.
We have such fun stories too, and I generally don't share them because, like, it was just private moments.
Yeah,
like,
it's also it's confidential. Like
we had one guy. We had one guy came in, like, super famous celebrity. I mean, like, super famous celebrity, and we were eating, and he was like, "Hey, is anyone gonna have that last slice of pizza?" And I was like, no, go ahead. But like we were at that level. They felt comfortable, and that's a big deal. I think that's huge when you deal with that. And look, our business
segment.
is 5% of our business is celebrities. We don't have that many, but you know, you just want to do the right thing.
No, but it's important to understand, like, the essentials for what makes that part of your business, because, like you're saying, like, they're just craving normalcy. Normalcy. They want, like, those casual conversations and casual interactions.
Yes, absolutely.
So have you, you know, with what's going on, right? So we had, like, the pandemic in 2020, and then that really stopped people from taking mass transit, right? Buses. The people are like, I don't really know, close masks, close quarters. You know, Vespa, I think was well positioned at that point where you guys really started to take off
Yes.
when the pandemic happened. I'm curious, like, what happened from 2020? So there was like an insane amount of growth that you had with your business, and like, where are you now, and then where do you see it going?
Well, so we had huge growth.
Right.
Like pandemic hit and we were just through the roof, right? I mean, we weren't sure, like everybody else, right? Like
Right.
we got the alert, like everybody go home. We're like,
Right.
Okay, I guess we'll go home now. And then like a week later, we found out that we could open because we were transportation, so we were essential. So so we figured out how to open and safeguard everybody and take care of it. And then the phone started ringing, and it started ringing a lot. And people were just like, "Hey, I have to go to work next week, and I don't know how to get there." Like, okay, I see how this is all working. And I mean, we grew probably about 40% in the first year, post COVID, or not post COVID, but like since COVID started.
Tremendous.
Because people just needed a way to get around. But this became global, right? Because like, our markets in Europe also grew.
Yep.
And people were just starting to see, hey, well, there's a better way to get around. I don't want to get in that subway. I don't want to go sit next to that person coughing on me. I don't want to get on the bus. I don't want to take my car. I don't want to, or they didn't have the option of a car. And then we saw people riding a lot more. And now it's just sort of stabilized and stayed up there. And I think we'll see a slight decrease this year because, like all things, it's going to go back to a normal level. But I don't think it's going to impact us a lot.
So is it something that you feel has plateaued? Like, because there's only so many people that can, like, once they absorb them right into the community, it's like, okay, some people want upgrades, some people leave the town, and new people come in town and they want.
That's a good question. I mean, I think has it plateaued? I don't think it's plateaued. I think we'll see a little bit of a downward this year, towards end of this year, beginning of next year. But I think we'll hit another spike. Oh, sorry. I was going to say with gas prices too. That's always. I'm the guy in the corner like, oh, gas prices went up. That's terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's terrible since I get 100 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
But I think that we have a huge potential. I mean, Vespa and riding scooters is still in its infancy, especially in New York. And we have so many people. We have the biggest market in America. So, I don't think we've reached our potential at all yet. I think we can just keep growing.
Really?
Yeah.
And how many locations do you currently have?
2. So we have Brooklyn and Manhattan.
Where's the Brooklyn location?
So in Brooklyn, we are in Fort Greene, Clinton Hill area by the Navy Yard.
Amazing.
And in Manhattan, we were on Grand Street, just here.
Oh, yeah.
Grandin. Do you know where the Mexican, the Tulum restaurant was?
On 6th?
On 6th and Varick.
Yeah.
So we were there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gitano.
Tulum. Gitano,
Yeah.
yeah. It's from Tulum, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were there on Grand Street.
Yeah.
We just closed that location. We're going to relocate to a new place, new concept for next year.
Ooh, new concept.
New concept, yeah.
Futuristic?
Futuristic, a little more Italian, a little more European.
Oh, yeah?
So we've got a few things in the works for
Okay.
next year, yeah.
Okay, so that's great. So Italian, European, like where does the vibe come from? Would you mind giving us just a little bit of background on you?
What do you mean? And
Like
where I'm
where
from?
you're
Oh,
from,
so
yeah.
I'm from, me. So I'm Greek, so we're very close to Italian, right?
Right,
So,
okay.
I often joke around because, all of our senior level people are in Italy, and, Italians and Greeks are very good about sort of like, hey, this is perfect. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. And it's not because it's broken, but we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
So
Don't worry about it.
yeah, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And but I find myself in a good position because I can understand that, right? So like when we have conversations, we understand our mentalities are the same.
Right.
Yeah.
We're often trying to see who can outdo the other one. So when they're like, hey, it'll be fine. It's going to work. I'm like, no, it's not. But I get it. We'll fix it.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to argue about it. So I'm originally from Greece.
Very
Amazing.
cool.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds pretty good. Do you have any other questions?
I
for
do.
Andrew? Yeah. Samantha's got like a list. She's like, I'm ready.
I always have them like lining up in my mind. Okay, so one thing that is important for us is like after we do a transaction with a client, years go on, we need to obviously maintain that relationship to some degree. Not texting them, weekly, but like sending something like around the holidays or like checking in on them like once a quarter, something like that. Is there any type of follow-up that you do after a transaction? Is it like Vespa sends like a card to like their home or like an email check-in? Like, is there any post-transaction customer relationship maintenance?
Yes, a lot actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a lot. So we finish the transaction. We do the orientation. You ride out on your Vespa. We put you up on Instagram. We exploit you, and then generally a few weeks later we'll check in, just see how everything is going. But you're due back for a first service at 600 miles. So for us,
how do we do that? You're due back for
a second home.
Free market report after 6 months.
Yeah, after 6 months of paying your mortgage, you must come back.
So we're in a situation where our relationship is just getting started.
Wow.
Right. So we'll see you within the first year for sure. And that's where it's important to make sure that relationship is a good relationship, because if you felt awkward or uncomfortable when you bought the vehicle, it's not going to be really fun when you have to come back for something.
Right.
So we want to make sure that experience is really good. And when you come back for your service, you have a flat tire or a New York State inspection, or whatever it is you need, that you walk in and you feel comfortable. Like you're greeted by your first name. And, I make a point to know 99% of my clients, like by first name.
Right.
And sometimes they're like, you remember him? Like, of course I remember. Like, you're a customer here. Like, and I don't do that as a show. Like, it's important. Like, these are your customers. Like, without them, you're playing indoor volleyball all day with your staff. Like, what are you doing? So we'll see them in that standpoint. We also developed a series that we did a few years ago, and we're gonna probably relaunch it soon on YouTube, called Meet the Riders, and we'll link up with them again, and we'll send a videographer over to their home, and we'll do like a half-hour video, like just one-on-one, like, hey, so like, what do you use your Vespa for? How's it been? What made you ride? Like, just to give an insight on people, and then we put that up on YouTube.
On YouTube,
yeah.
How's like that part, like media focus changing? The way you promote the business.
I mean, it's all positive. It's all. I mean, we have more outlets than we could ever imagine.
Right.
Between YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and it's just like we have a person that handles it now, because it's just too much. Like I wouldn't be able to do that on my own.
Right.
And I still feel like we don't do enough.
Right.
Just because there's so much you could do. I mean, you guys have an entire room down here,
right?
So,
right.
It's important, and I feel like every year I'm trying to figure out how to do more and how to get out there more, and just you can only send so many emails with a picture of a Vespa,
right?
Like that's not like after a while, like okay, great,
yeah.
But like you want a human story, you want to talk to someone, you want to hear someone's voice, so.
So are any of those segments based around you and your passion for Vespa, or the YouTubes predominantly on people that have purchased in the past?
It's just the customers.
It's just the customers.
Yeah, we want to showcase them.
Do you have any segments for you?
I don't.
I
have one right now, actually. This is my first one.
This is your first. This is also your first podcast.
It is.
Well, we feel very honored that it's your first podcast.
Thank
You're
you.
doing very well, by the way. I'm going to be honest. And perhaps maybe this is your nudge to say, you could do the customers, but also you have such deep expertise of the business and the way that the business is run, and then also, one customer has one unique experience. The benefit that you have is you have thousands of unique experiences that you could draw on to help promote and also just educate people on the new way of transporting, not just in Europe, but also, in these mean streets in New York City.
Yeah.
So I think, with the growth that you've seen and done since COVID, 40%. I mean, are you responsible for this? Are you responsible for the independent motorist uptick in New York City? Is this?
It's all me.
It's all you.
That's not.
All right, that's what I was looking. I was like really looking for you to take that. Okay, so it's all you, Andrew.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Fantastic. We're sitting with the man,
You
know
the
what?
myth, the legend.
Until someone takes it from me, I'll just say it's me.
Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah, we'll give you the crown.
Thanks. No, it's I mean, it's actually surreal sometimes. You walk around New York and Brooklyn, and you see a bunch of Vespas parked on the sidewalk, and you're like, okay, like we did this, like we've impacted how people commute.
Right.
It's awesome, and people. I mean, we have people that tell us all the time, like, I need this bike back quickly. Like, you have a flat tire, I need it back quickly. Like, I'm a surgeon, I need to get to the OR. I'm like, God, like, are you depending on me now?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Is someone's life in your hands now?
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, just like in real estate, there's this building in Brooklyn that I represent, the Lewis Steel building. My name's on the building. But like some days I just stand out in front of it and I see all the people kind of coming in and out. And I'm like, wow, like, I did that,
No,
I
it's
put that all together.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's cool.
I was
It's
at a
really
red light
cool.
once, like Upper West Side or something, and I was with my wife, and we were coming back from an appointment, and a guy pulls up on a Vespa on the red light, and he sees me, and he's like, "Hey," and I was like, "She's like, seriously?" And I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't click. It doesn't like,
Right.
and I guess year after year it clicks a little more.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I couldn't think of something better to do right now.
Well, maybe you can. Maybe you could think about. So you said something funny earlier off camera about Samantha asked, "Hey, are you interested in the F1?" And you're like, if I'm going to go, I'm going to be riding in it. So I just want to hear just a little bit about like your passion for adrenaline and how that plays into potentially skipping out on an F1 appearance.
Well,
Or not appearance.
I'm very sure I'm not going to show up on an F1 track anytime soon.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I do a lot of things off time, offline. Race cars, bicycles, running, a little bit of boxing, a little bit of just whatever I can get to take my mind off of work.
Right.
And then, I feel like for me personally, and everybody's different, but for me personally, I need to do something that's so intense that I can't think about
Right.
what I have to do on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So with any of those things, like if I'm sitting in a race car, it's intense. Like I can't stop thinking. I can't think about that email I need to send on Monday because we're probably going to hit something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I try to do that. I think it's a great way to focus. It's a great way to free your mind. And then, even if it's for an hour and then you get back to thinking about things, but you've freed your mind for an hour.
Correct.
You didn't think about work for an hour.
Right.
And then it allows you to show up better when you do get back
Yes.
into the office, when you are dealing with your team and with clients. Like you show
You're
up.
present.
Yeah, you're present.
It's important. I think it's
Yeah.
important in your work life. I think it's important in your personal life, in your family life. Like everyone needs that time on their own to just decompress,
Yeah.
close their mind, and for everybody it's something different.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
try to-
meditation, that's something Sam does, but the way that you describe it, it's like
It is
you're
meditation,
so
yeah.
It's a form.
you're
It's
so
a form, yeah.
focused that it's not a sitting meditation. Like for example, I just got back from Egypt. I was on a kite surfing trip and I was kiting, and you have so many things. You have the harness, you have the kite, you have the board, you have the water, the waves, the other
Yeah.
kiters. So just like if you start thinking about anything else, like you're fucked.
No, you got to stay focused. You got to stay focused. I mean, at any given time, during that time, did you think about the email you needed to send?
Absolutely
No.
not. You have no
And it's
choice.
not, and it's
You
not that
can't.
you didn't care. So that's
Yeah.
where people, I think, don't get it sometimes. Sometimes people think that when you want to shut down, it's because you don't care.
Right.
It's completely the opposite.
Yeah.
You do care, and you want to just recenter your mind to do the right job at whatever that is. And it's not the irresponsible sort of, well, screw it, I'm just going to forget about everything.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's very much different.
Yeah. Well, to round this out, I want to just give the bullet points of kind of and recap of what we touched on today when it comes to customer service. So the ones that I kind of extracted from our conversation were listening,
Yes.
developing trust,
Yes.
knowing your product or service. It's
Yes.
extremely important. Treating every customer like it's your most important one, giving
Yes.
it the high level, service. Am I missing a few? I feel like I probably am.
No, I mean, I feel like it's really hard to pinpoint these things in
Yeah.
a list or
Yeah.
top 5 or top 10 or whatever because it's constantly evolving.
It's a good point.
The marketplace is always changing. People are always changing. My customers from 2010 are different from my 2020 customers or my
Right,
2023
right,
customers.
right,
So
That's a great
I
point.
think the most important thing as a business owner, as a salesperson, because we're all salespeople at the end of the day, right? I mean,
Yep.
is to constantly evolve with what you're
Right.
doing because it's changing. It's never and it's changing faster than it's ever changed. You got to be able to evolve. I have people that I know that have a certain sales technique that they'll do forever. And you can't do that. It's changed. People's expectations are different.
Yep.
I'll give you a quick, we recently switched over to a system that we use 2 years now, 2-3 years now, where we text from our landline. So you can either call us on the landline or you can text us at the landline. And we have a software that is basically looks like Outlook. It's on your screen, and they're real-time conversations with our clients. People are busy, so they're not answering their phone.
Yep.
They're not answering emails because they get 1,700 emails a day, right? But we need to speak to them. We need to get an approval for a job. We need to give them an update on a job. We need to get paid for a job.
Yep.
And we don't know what they're doing on their end, right? People could be busy. You could be calling at the worst possible time and get chewed out because you're
Right.
trying to get approval to fix something that's wrong with their bike.
Right. Right.
So, that's something that's evolved. It's changed, right? And you have to move with that. So we text people, and people tell us all the time, like, hey, we really appreciate that you do this because we're in meetings, we're busy. But I was able to just, Andrew needs an approval for this time. Okay, yeah, it's approved. Go ahead and do it. I'll see you later. And it just helps people. It respects their time
Right.
while respecting ours because we also need the approval so we can continue working and do whatever. So it's evolving. You have to keep evolving or else you're going to get left behind.
That's a good piece of wisdom right there, Andrew. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for all of your wisdom and joining the Broker That Never Sleeps podcast. This is a podcast that Samantha and I are dropping weekly. It is something that has been a lot of work that we're working on together and jointly with guests and everything like that. So please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you want, hit us in the comments too. We'll get back to you. I know Andrew's pretty active on the YouTube, or at least Vespa is. So check him out. Check out his website. Check out his stores in Fort Greene. And we got a new location in Manhattan coming in 2024. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.